Speed hops, transferring horizontal momentum into vertical momentum, and using depth jumps or drop jumps in your training. The three most elite plyometrics that any athlete can do. Let's check out these three movements and why they are going to change the way you move. These might be the three most potent plyometrics that you can do. They might give you the biggest gains, the most superhuman powers, and they might transform the way that you move as an athlete. If you've been through the Plus Pliers system, you will understand where you may fit on a hierarchy of plyometric capacity. Are you still sat around those light movements? You're using rudimentary plyometrics to kind of get you and graduate you more into what might be deemed as medium tier or sub-maximal forms of plyometrics? Or have you graduated into the big leagues? Are you using maximal intent-based ping tier plyometrics, as we term them in the Plus Pliers tiered system? These three movements really are truly at the top of the training and athletic pyramid. And I'm going to get into why that's the case now. So this first movement, a speed hop. Now, this might look a little crazy to the average human being, but we are not average human beings. Athletes are people that are testing the limits all the time of trying to push the envelope of athletic development and athleticism. And really, we're trying to make ourselves superhuman. This is basically a one-legged sprint. Why is it so difficult and why is it so potent, you might be asking? Number one, we have to look at the speed of that limb. Now watch this guy. He's carrying in what maybe 20 to even 30 meters, you could say yards here too, of incoming speed. This person is hitting that first hop with significant speed and velocity. And what we immediately get there is the need to spin that leg, to cycle that leg aggressively. What does that do for us? Well, it stimulates our system enormously with eccentric stress. And eccentric stress is going to give you really superhuman abilities to utilize high levels of forces within your sport. So if you want to improve your sprinting, if you want to improve your change of direction and cutting ability, if you want to just jump higher, handling higher levels of eccentric stress and then being able to convert that into utilized energy. So can you carry force in and deliver it outwards? Those of you that can't do the second portion of it and use it as concentric energy are the ones that probably do one or two of these hops at speed and then bail out of it. The body says, no, this is too much stress. I can't deal with that force as I get into what's claimed as mid stance. And from there, I bail out of it. I cannot push out of that. Maybe the tissue is just gonna go. It's gonna explode. Maybe it's just a case of there's that like psychological thing in the back of my brain that's been like, I don't know if we can do this. And that's why speed hopping is such a potent stimulus. So we have that rapid turnover of that leg. We also have the enormous spike in eccentric force. Now, what I will say to you is everyone is not going to start with 20 or 30 meters worth of running into that first initial hop. And you're going to have to start with a couple of strides. I will say that obviously if you're to just start hopping from a standstill, the first 5, 6, 7, even 8 hops are going to be more accelerating based hops. They are going to be push, push, push. Whereas we want to focus a little more on maybe what would be deemed as max velocity forms of hopping. Speed hopping is crazy good for improving your speed. It is really good for you dealing with high levels of eccentric stress. And yes, it is fantastic at you learning how to use the stretch shortening cycle effectively. Take energy in, huge, enormous amounts of kinetic energy, and use it to propel your body out the other side of that landing. So as we land, we receive enormous force. But can you take off and utilize the momentum and energy that has come from that incoming speed? That's why speed hopping is so critical to get to as a top level performer. So when would you be using speed hops? You are probably only going to be able to use this maybe once a week, maybe even once every 10 days. These are such a high potent stimulus that you're probably not going to get much of this in terms of frequency. And when you do so, the amount of volume that you're going to be able to handle is going to start really low. You may be doing a total of something like 6 to 10 landings on a single set of hops, and obviously both sides. So that equally does almost feels like it doubles the amount of neural stimulus and as much as of a neuromuscular hit. Now, when we're looking at sets and rep schemes, maybe you're using 6 to 10 landings. You're probably going to be using a 2 or 4 stride run-in maximum here. It could be 3, could be 5, maybe if you're getting to a good stage. Now, obviously, everyone's running is going to be slightly different. So if you can get to a stage where you say, I'm going to push 2 hard strides into hop, 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 that might be a good way to do it. Now I'm going to push 3 strides into hop, 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 hop. And if you're always doing this at what feels like a relatively high speed, you're probably only going to be able to handle 2 to 4 sets maximum on the day, especially if you still have other neurally demanding work, like other plyometric movements. Let's say you're doing some jumping work, or even let's say that you're doing some sprinting or change of direction work. There is going to be a limited amount of speed hopping that you can do. But once you get it in the program, it is going to give you a significant change in the way that you anticipate and the way that you modulate and deal with very high levels of eccentric stress.